All right, onto the front. Very simple. So you gotta loosen the tie rods on both ends, obviously. Then you gotta loosen all the sort of sensors, the brake line, retainer over here. That's essentially it. Two bolts pop here. Your shocks come out. Those are the BCs right there. Um, and a trick when you're doing the engine bay of the Mazda 3. These retainers or these sort of holders for the shocks are mounted with the shocks over here. So with the top bolts of the shocks. So you got to be careful when you remove them. Otherwise your whole hood is going to sort of implode on you. So what you got to do is you got to gently remove them, loosen up those first, and just use a jack stand to support it, or a piece of wood, or whatever you want. In my case, I use a jack stand just so I have enough room to basically, once I put in the converter shocks, to put the bolts in there or the nuts in there to retain the shock on both sides and Bobby's your uncle. So be careful when you guys are removing these hood struts, is because this bracket is part of the upper, it goes right on top of the upper bolt or screw that protrudes out from the shock, and then you put the nut on top of it and it's retained with a nut. So don't just remove it and then your hood will fall on your head. So be very, very careful. I mean, an amazing design, like with anything Mazda, beginning with their rotary motor. Just kidding. We all love Mazdas, right? But anyways, so that's that. And other than that, it's pretty easy. Lower it slowly, put up on the jack stand, and off you go. So now we're going to convert the front BCs for bags. We already have the lines ran over here from the previous video. So it's just a matter of connecting it to the shocks and retaining them for safety, and bada bing bada boom. Yeah, so a little bit of a hurdle. One of the coilovers, the lower mount, was super seized. I had to loosen it up. It was rusty like a mofo. But thank God we're going to put some NTCs on it, seal it up, and Bob is your uncle. And that's pretty much it. But I keep telling everyone, but I guess nobody listens. It's up to them, obviously. We live in Canada. Like, it might be cool that you don't need to, put NTCs when you live in California. And most of the guys that are very vocal about coilovers, whatever, this is a 1-year-old BC Racing coilover, with anti-rust coating, or, not anti-rust, but preventative rust coating, and it still seizes. So, as I said, I keep repeating it, NTCs, 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 and apply liberally. All right, so this thing is sitting on the ground. That's actually really, 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 really nice. So right now it's static air. I just wanted to see how it sits. Front's got camber adjustment, so she can go even lower. The rear tucks. I mean, this is sick. All right. So the most fun part of the installation, I guess I would say, is setting up on the trunk setup. And what we're gonna do for this one is we have two Stealth Vire compressors running digital air management from Squeaky Clean, and we have a situation similar to what the Corolla has with the sub box, and we're going to basically do everything on top of the sub box. So we're going to do a small we're going to see how it goes. We're going to do a hardline setup. I got the board ready. I'm just in the process of pre-fitting the tank. I got the board ready. I'm gonna put the tank on here. And I have a manifold bracket that I welded up for one of my Squeaky Clean Air digital management manifolds. It'll probably sit a little bit out like that, so that's how I'm able to fit everything on such a small board. Having the ability to sort of fabricate my own mounts, and definitely it's cool to learn how to weld, because that will allow you to, well, in my case, right, I do part-time installations and stuff for friends and whatever. So, but anyways, anytime you do sort of an installation or anything like that, it also always helps because of the fact that you're able to fabricate your own parts. Where normally you'd have to wait weeks in order to buy it from online or whatever, right? So that makes it a lot easier. So I'm in the process of basically pre-fitting this tank. This is a 4-gallon 7-port tank from Airlift. I love their products. Same with Vire compressors. Never had any issues with them. Cool tip, whenever you get it out of the box, Don't throw away the foam. I use the foam in order to lay the tank on the side like that. Use this little doohickey to pull on these. I have a video out there on my YouTube if you guys are interested. And that way you're able to sort of use the foam in order not to scratch up the tank. There's so many times I see guys doing installations, guys and girls doing installations in shops, and they install like a brand new suspension setup, and the customer's tank is all scratched up. And I'm like, what are they doing with these tanks? Are they really like going over and they're like touching them with their hands, or they're like using like a steel wool? Like, there's no reason for you guys to be giving out air suspension setups or doing installations and the tanks are all scratched up. So try to preserve the customer's parts, right? They pay hard-earned money for this stuff. So one of the ways I could find out is that works for me, obviously, is I just use the foam, and that way I'll try to eliminate all the scratches on the tanks. But I talk too much, I know that, but that's okay. So I'm in the process of setting this up, and stay tuned. Okay, so here's the base. We've covered the base with sort of like I don't know, feels sort of like a suede type of a material. The owner selected it, Roxanne selected it, because it matches her interior. I guess she did a blue interior on it. I recovered her panels, which is cool. So the base of the trunk setup, the tank and the compressors and all that is going to be with blue. I got the hard lines already ready. We're going to be bending some lines because we're going to be doing some hard lines for it. I mounted the box to the base because I don't want it to slide around. So it's pretty solid. It'll move around a little bit. But maybe what I'll do is I'll put some screws through here just for it not to move around. The base is pretty solid anyways, and then this gives us an ability to sort of mount it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not going to slide around too much, but I might put some, because this base is pretty solid, I might put some screws to screw into the soft piece over there, sort of the jabs into it, because it seems like it's some kind of a polyurethane, actually. No, not polyurethane, but styrofoam. And that will prevent the bottom from shifting. The box is attached to this, so the box is not going to flip. I just wanted to have some kind of a base, but it's going to look pretty clean. She'll still be able to have a trunk set up to put stuff in because the subs are protected. This box is pretty sweet. But yeah, we continue on. I'm going to put on the tank and the compressors. What I like to do is I like to put the bolts or the nuts through the boards with washers, obviously, for support, especially for the manifold bracket, which is going to go over here because you want it to be pretty sturdy, But I like to have the bolts stick out, so it's really easy to just put on the tank, put on the compressors over here, put on the manifold over here, so everything is sort of within top mounted reach, right? And of course I pre-drill the board prior to covering it with this material, and put the bolts through, so I'm able to sort of put them through right now. Goes on the board, clean it up. It's going to look really nice and clean, actually. It's going to give a nice little touch. But what's going to happen is I'm going to elevate these with spacers, because underneath them we're going to run an LED strip underneath it. So hopefully it'll light up the base, and I'll show you guys the effect once I hook it up. So stay tuned. All right. So fast track a little bit ahead of time. Mounted the two compressors. Mounted the tank, mounted the squeaky clean air management. I'm just keeping the protective cover on it before I took it off, obviously, before I install it, just to protect the logo. Put in the compression fittings. Now I'm going to run some hard lines. And pressure switch, water trap going into backflow preventer valve. So one-way valve, and spreads over into the input, and the two elbows. I decided to keep the black lines. I kind of liked the look of the black lines. So I was gonna do hard lines going into the back, but I decided just to keep the black lines, kind of to add a little bit of a contrast. And I'm gonna run some hard lines from here for the individual sides of the car. I haven't decided on the patterns. We'll have to think of something. Maybe I'm gonna go over. Probably for these two, I'm gonna go over. I haven't decided. Depending on the line, maybe I'm gonna go straight. We'll see. We'll see how I decide to do it. Or maybe I'm gonna go underneath here, and maybe underneath here, and then underneath there. We'll see. But I'm gonna start on the hard lines right now, and that way I'll be able to connect this thing up and fire it up.